Welcome to UWS Weekly, a show that is dedicated to covering United Women's Soccer, a national pro-am league with your host, Jonathan Ward. Each and every week, we will highlight players, supporters, and staff of the clubs we all pride ourselves to support in North America. The UWS is a league that is committed to advancing women's soccer. Good evening, soccer fans, and welcome to UWS Weekly, a show dedicated to the best pro-am league in the world. My name is Jonathan, and this evening I will be joined by the head coach and GM of the Impact FC, Troye Flannery. Before we bring Troye on, I want to give everybody an opportunity and an update on things going on in the league. So as of today, the league has announced having a total of 80 teams between the UWS and UWS League 2. United Women's Soccer has valued quality over quantity from its inception in 2016, starting out with 11 teams and now 80 within the two divisions. Through the 5 years of existence, UWS has attracted other like-minded member clubs that share in their mission to advance women's soccer. With that, expansion continues in the Eastern Conference, as FC Buffalo Women will join us for the 2021 season. They'll be the sixth team added to the East lineup for the upcoming campaign and the sixth team from New York alongside newcomers Albany Rush, Brooklyn City FC, and UWS veterans Long Island Rough Riders, the Rochester Lancers, and Syracuse DA. Founded in 2009, FC Buffalo is based in Buffalo, New York, with a men's team currently competing in the NPSL. The organization joined the NPSL as an expansion franchise back in 2009, with its first competitive season in 2010. SCB takes inspiration for their colors, royal blue and yellow gold, from the classic Buffalo Sabres uniforms. United Women's Soccer sees its first team move up from League Two with the addition of the Central Texas Hornets to the 2021 Southwest Conference lineup of teams. The South Austin, Texas-based organization was slated to debut last year in the developmental pathway for U20 and U23 players in 2020, but the season was canceled due to COVID-19. This year, the National Pro-Am League has granted approval for the Hornets to make the jump, and they will compete against Bat Country FC, FC Austin Elite, Dallas International FC, the San Antonio Athenians, and Side FC 92, based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, this upcoming season. A fourth team based out of Illinois has been added to the Midwest Conference of the UWS, located in the city of Chicago with headquarters in the south side of Chicago. KICS Football Club is the newest addition to the UWS. The expansion side joins Lady Steel FC out of Joliet, Illinois, Chicago Mustangs, and MSC Peoria as new UWS teams from the land of Lincoln. Once primarily based in the state of Michigan, the Midwest Conference is now divided between three states of Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. Tonight, it is an honor to have the opportunity and chance to speak with former UWS Coach of the Year, who is now the head coach and GM of the Impact FC. So please welcome Troye Flannery. Troye, how's it going, man? How are you?
I'm living the dream, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Hoping everything is is going well up north, and that the weather's not too harsh for you guys.
Yeah, it's not too bad today, actually. I think it's plus 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, a little bit of sunshine popping in through the window there, so we're good. Working on my tan.
There we go. Get a base tan first, and then you go down to Cabo for a few weeks before the season starts. You come back, you're perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Look at this skin tone. I think Cabo and I aren't going to get along, are we?
Oh, man, come on now. Everybody gets along down in Cabo. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the game that we all love.
That's a long story, but I'll give you the quick version. Started off playing soccer like most young kids, played a couple sports, hockey, soccer, and so forth, and moved from Ottawa to cross country to the Vancouver region and kept playing, and had to make a choice one day between soccer and hockey, and got some advice. He denies it, but my old man said I should probably choose soccer because I was better at that than hockey, and some would say I wasn't very good at soccer either. So I pursued that, and truth be told, super fortunate. My experience in the game as a player, I had absolutely a who's who of coaches up here, and fantastic people, fantastic coaches around me, and I just kept playing the game, and was fortunate enough to play at university and so forth. And my coaching career started while I was in university. A friend of mine, her dad ran the local organization in Langley, British Columbia, and he offered me a chance to volunteer coach a U19 girls team, and I said sure. Didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't look back since. Really enjoyed it. But like I said, the fast version of the journey was exposed to a lot of really good people that were good coaches, and it fostered that passion for the game and that love for the game and willingness and strong desire to get back to the game. So, well, that's that.
So I have to ask you, you'd started at Foothills. You were really successful. You won Coach of the Year there, and led that club to some opportunity to grow and definitely some championships. What got you interested or motivated to join Impact FC?
I was at Foothills a long time. I think combined in 2 tenures, 13 years, and obviously headed up the UWS with the support of many down there the last few years. But I think, personally, was looking for an opportunity to do something else and continue to grow the game. And Foothills is an absolutely phenomenal organization. So many good things, so many good experiences, and have always treated me really well, and still have a very positive relationship with Foothills. My daughters play at Foothills still. And, I decided to come up here. Chris Spadell, our executive director at Impact, I've known him a long time. We've worked together in various programs here with Alberta Soccer and so forth. We started talking. They were looking for a technical director. I didn't apply originally. I talked to him about it. I don't think he thought it was serious. And then I applied, came up, and I was awestruck by, the ambition of the board, the quality of the people on this board, the infrastructure, the setup within the organization. And I thought, wow, this is something that is a little bit different, and something that, I aspire to be a part of. And in the back of my mind, thought there's some things that, I learned at Foothills that we could work off of here as well. And, the relationship between our club up here and Impact and Foothills is very positive. And, I got to credit Chris for putting, their vision as a club there, or being us, on the table, and me saying, hey, that's something I would love to be a part of.
Awesome. So, one of the things I have to ask, a lot of people in Canada, in the media, have already labeled this match, or this rivalry, El Clasico. What are your thoughts on having kind of a neighbor that you have an instant rivalry with?
I think it's fantastic. It's going to do nothing but continue to grow the game and provide even more opportunity, whether that be for players or sponsorships or so forth. I think, the social media campaign with respect to building that rivalry stems off the rivalry in the men's game between FC Edmonton and Calgary. I think it's massive. It's super exciting. We'll play it up as much as we can. I get asked that question a lot, and, empathetic me, I bleed green there a little bit. I was at Foothills a long time, and a lot of those players I know and have coached, and play in the university that I coach at and so forth, and their coaching staff I worked with and so forth. But then anybody that really knows me knows deep down that passion and that desire. I want to win, and that's the plan. And I keep telling people up here in Edmonton that'll listen, we'll get you those W's. So that's how we're going about it. I think it's fantastic for the game. Truth be told, it's got nothing to do with myself or anything like that. This is just opportunity for the women playing at that level. It gives them a slightly bigger stage and whatnot, because people will be interested in that result in those games for lots of different reasons. And I think the opportunity to showcase the talent of the women is more important than any sideline story with respect to me being in green or this or that, and now blue. It's that stuff's not important, but if it helps, we'll go for it.
Nice. So, you and I were we touched base yesterday. We are talking a little bit about that announcement with NISA. How do you think this announcement with NISA and another potential pro league involving the UWS, what does it mean for the landscape of professional women's soccer in North America?
It's a game changer, without question. I know when I saw that, it was years ago at one of our AGMs. I can't remember if we're in Philadelphia or Chicago and so forth. I had indicated, we need to try and keep pushing on, keep pushing, and try to get this pro level. I think there's a lack of opportunity. Obviously, they have a really established quality league in the NWSL at the professional level, but then so many young Americans and so many young Canadians have to travel abroad to pursue their dream, whether it be France or Sweden or the UK or Spain. I know my foothills experience, we've seen many alumni go across to Europe to pursue those opportunities. And, I think that's tough, leave your family, your friends and so forth and have to set up shop in a foreign country. So why not offer that here? And if the UWS has a platform and those relationships to establish a viable professional option, it's exciting, it's real, and it provides opportunity, and it provides deserved opportunity for women. And I think I can't say anything else other than the fact it's exciting. And having a brief call with those involved last week, this is legitimate, and the right people are excited about it and going to go after it.
Awesome. Well, we hope that it does create more opportunity. Canada has their own professional league, but I think this would add a little something extra to the growth of the game in Canada as well. What is the overall mission? Let's talk about the club a little bit here. What is the overall mission of Impact FC?
I think I said the word opportunity probably too many times already, and I'll cringe later, but it's about opportunity. So I think at this level, at the UWS level, it's providing opportunity for women to play the game, providing opportunity here eventually for women who want to coach in the game at that level. And we're looking for people, for women to get involved there. It's an opportunity for women executives and so forth. And as a club, we're about opportunity for everyone. We have men's leagues here in St. Albert. We have women's leagues, co-ed leagues, community-based programming for our younger players, grassroots programming, an academy program. And, our mission is to provide something for everybody that wants something out of the game, because it truly is a beautiful game. So again, to sum it all up, it's about opportunity. And specific to the UWS piece, this is it's truly fantastic to have young players aspire to use this current level as a springboard for maybe what's next. And, I say all the time, my experience here with respect to the opportunity, I've seen 15, 16-year-olds, sort of get their first experience to play against high-level players in this conference. And I've seen, ex-pros and former national team players, and I've seen current standouts at the university level, both sides of the border. It truly is something for everybody. And I think if you add that on top of a pathway in the region, it can only help foster more growth and so forth. And, that's the impact perspective. But being up here in St. Albert and part of the greater Edmonton region, this is an opportunity for all young players that want to take their game to the next level and aspire for more exposure and so forth.
So talking kind of about that opportunity and the club and yourself providing that, what is the structure? What is the makeup of the coaching staff? You have a lot of opportunity to create a coaching staff that could learn more, right? So what are you doing that is different to create that opportunity for Impact?
That's top secret stuff, Jonathan, but we're going to announce our coaching staff here soon. But I can tell you, all honestly, right now we've got an experienced coaching staff. I thought initially here, we thought that it was super important to be ready. I remember my very first game I coached in UWS. One of my favorite stories. A, we decided to bus to Salt Lake City. B, the hotel was like an hour and a half away from the stadium. C, I was still filling out the game sheet well into halftime, and we were down 4-0. And we had not a Scooby-Doo about the level. We had no idea. And we actually made a game of it. Lee Tucker, who's coaching Foothills now, him and I looked at each other after the game, and we sort of, I don't know if we chuckled, but I was like, we can actually play in this league, despite we had our backsides burnt there a little bit. And I remember calling our technical director, Tommy Wheeldon, going, "Boss, I promise you, I know the result looks bad, but we can do this." And we got a result the next week in Houston, and unbelievable weather. So long-winded point, is I thought it was important to get an experienced coaching staff together, because I'm not going to lie, I don't think we were experienced enough initially, and certainly have been around a few years in the league and know that now. And, we're going to announce that shortly. And the next piece is providing that opportunity for women, if we can, that want to coach at this level or get an opportunity to be around this level. And I'm not going to lie, it's not a long list here right now, unfortunately, and we're looking, and I'll put it out there, if people want to be involved or women want to be involved. This isn't for Troye Flannery, this isn't for Chris Spadell and so forth. This is for women. I'll get it going and I'll step back, and that's how I'm looking at it. But we're going to announce that shortly.
Awesome. Look forward to it. So, you've had success in the UWS. What is the goal going into this inaugural year for the club? What's the goal overall? Is it to win matches? Obviously it's to win, but is there another goal for this year?
Are you serious, Jonathan?
I am.
Okay. No, it's right away win. There's, at this level, and we can talk development and keep saying opportunity, but I'll just put it on the table. The goal is to win. Players like to win, sponsors like to win, the community likes to win. I like to win. And that's no guarantee by any stretch of the imagination, but the goal is to win, because I think everything gets easier if you're having success. It's easier to go out in the community and get people to come to games and have a game day experience or sponsorship experience, and continue to build and continue to pursue professional opportunities beyond this and so forth, if you're putting together a successful product. And that could be anything from the individual player that wants to use this as a stepping stone to pursue something in Europe, or the next level with respect to NWSL and so forth. It's easier to build your sort of portfolio if you're winning. And so that's what we want to do. All those other things, we want to develop players. We want to provide opportunity for young players to experience that level. I like to think, maybe it's not obvious, but I'd like to think that's obvious. That's why we're doing this. I've spoken a lot about the opportunity, but in the end, we want to win, because we want this to be around long term. And it's been my own personal opinion and experience. You stick around longer if you're having success. And so that's why. I don't mean to sound super arrogant, but we want to win.
So what drew the organization to the UWS? There's tons of choices. You're obviously familiar with it. I think Chris is familiar with it as well. But what was the main reason, or the main draw to UWS for the organization?
Just think, for me personally, I had such an incredible experience with the UWS, the people, Joe and Stephanie and Francisco, Roberto, everybody that I met, and going to the conventions and so forth. I really believe in their vision. And then the experience at Foothills and how we worked down there was positive as well. And not everything's perfect, and then you combine that with the fact that this particular club here is ambitious. They wanted to do something, and not for a single second did I think, when Chris and I presented this, would our board jump on this. We had like 24 hours to turn this around, to meet some deadlines with respect to sanctioning and so forth. And Ferrer will tell you that. And I'm really, really proud of the intent served by our organization. Volunteer boards in sport often get a bad rep. Often you hear about horror stories all the time. And this is a group of volunteers that really wanted to do something for the community, really wanted to do something for women, and jumped on board. So I think, based on my past experience, and knowing the quality of people behind that badge that's on the screen, and based on comparing that to the quality of people behind the other badge on the screen, I just thought it was sort of a natural progression and natural marriage. It's a lot of work. I joke I'm drinking from a fire hose. We have a Gantt chart that I learned at Foothills from Danny Hay and so forth. And it's a lot of work. And it's not just the soccer piece and putting together the team. It's planning the game day experience, the live music, the venue, the infrastructure, the beer gardens, and so forth. And doing that all in a day and age in which we get a COVID update every day at 3:30 or 4. So it's, I think it's passion. It's just very simply passion.
What makes soccer in Canada different? Obviously, hockey is the national sport, but soccer is starting to kind of take root and put some spurs in that. But what makes soccer different in Canada?
Okay, first and foremost, there's more young soccer players in the country than there are hockey players. I think participation-wise, coast to coast, soccer blows everybody out of the water. I think what makes it different, though, just really basic things is, with respect to our geography, it's a large country, and we got some pretty dense populated areas and so forth. So it's harder to do things like this here. Our closest major center is Calgary, which is 3.5 hours away from where I'm sat, and that's considered close. So I think it's just how sparse the population is and how vast the land is. If you look at the East Coast or the West Coast, and there's our population is a mere fraction of what it is in the US. So that makes it different in its own right. We don't have the same player pool and so forth. I know to be competitive at UWS originally at Foothills, we were pulling players as much as we could locally, but we had players coming from up here. We had players coming from neighboring provinces and players coming from back east and some from Europe to put it together. So we just don't have the same player pool. I would say that the other thing that makes it different is we are super supportive of our women's national team. I think our women's national team, under the recent coaching staffs they've had, have done a phenomenal job of promoting the game, and the players have been accessible and have been in the community spotlight. And I think women's soccer in this country, and we've hosted championships and World Cups and so forth, has been really, really well supported. And I know when I'm talking to potential sponsors and so forth, the level of support has been good. So I don't know if that's different or not, but I'd say we're small and we're punching above our weight at these levels, and we're happy to do it.
Well, keep doing it because it's working. Bronze medals and eventually bronze medals turns into silver, silver turns into gold. And that's kind of the progression for Canada. And so with that, there's a strategy. Every club has a strategy when it concerns youth development. What is Impact doing with its youth programs in order to, foster growth, bring them into the first team with you, or even give them an opportunity?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I know what we've done here is a little bit, this is year one. So what we've done in year one is we put together an experienced team, a team of players that have either played at this level, played at similar levels, or have had tremendous success at previous levels that are a little bit more mature. And then what we'll do is we'll have young up-and-coming players in this region join sort of our training environment and get them, shoulder to shoulder with those experienced women and so forth. And because this particular conference is not one in which you can take many risks with respect to throwing somebody in the deep end and seeing if they can swim or not, especially in a first year, that'll take a little bit longer. And once we get our feet wet and we get accustomed to the standard of this conference, then I think you'll see more young players be presented with a match day opportunity. But most certainly, Jonathan, long term, this is about the young players. This roster will get younger and younger as our franchise gets older and older, if that makes sense. And right now we put together a team that we think can compete right off the get-go to make sure that the opportunity exists for our young up-and-coming players, whether it be Impact or any other club in the Edmonton region.
One of the things I'll say that I've really noticed is the idea that it seems to be that you found a type of player that you're looking for, or a type of personality in that player, and that's a leader. You've taken 8 captains from clubs and college teams that are now on the roster. But for you personally, as the technical director and the coach, is there a certain type of player you're looking for? Is leadership that player? Is that quality? What's going on?
I think it's character. I like generally when I recruit at the university level or this level, I like players that have won things in the past. They've won national championships at the youth level, or they've won national championships at the amateur level, and they have been team leaders and so forth. Because this league, it's hard. It's extremely difficult. When you're playing away to Santa Clarita, then you have a day off and you got to play the next day. A couple of years ago against LA Galaxy, with both rosters are absolutely exceptional and a who's who of U.S. West Coast University soccer with UCLA or Stanford or USC and junior national team members. It's hard. And, technique and athleticism is fantastic. Game intelligence is even better. But in the end, it's about character and so forth. And what I found very quickly is the players that enabled us to do the things that we wanted to do were those that had the most character. And we had some really, really special players wearing green and white down in Calgary that maybe didn't have all the bells and whistles with respect to their athleticism or this or that or physique, but they were a big reason why we had success. I could name drop, and everybody else will be mad at me, but we had some pretty special character pieces. And so I look for character. This has been difficult for me as I'm new up here in Edmonton, and I trust the people around me, and Chris has been instrumental in diving into who's who. And what we've done is we put together sort of a pool of players, and the people that know them best explain to them, and then I talk to them. And I can tell you what, every single player that we've announced that I've spoken to has impressed me with whom they are as a person and their outlook on life and what they're trying to do here, whether they're young or older, been there, done that or not. And I think that, to me, is more important than the soccer piece. And it's how I've always tried to do it, right or wrong. And, we've seen those results at University of Calgary and at Foothills, and we hope to see it here as well.
I was really impressed. Last week I had the opportunity to talk to Tanya, and that she impressed me. Her ability just to stay calm and her quality of answers, but her quality as a person. She was very interested in joining me for AMA, and her quality on the pitch shows for itself while at the University of Memphis. So
yeah, she's a ridiculous example. Like, she's unbelievable. A great player, a great person. She captains Canada's U20 team. I think she's the captain. I know she's the captain at Memphis. She came down to Calgary to play for us 2 years ago. Her family's up here, and her family is unbelievably supportive as well. What you see there is what you get. And I think that's the poster child of what we're trying to do. And obviously it's a bonus that she's so effective on the soccer pitch. That doesn't hurt. So, but as a person, absolutely gem.
Sure, you have 23 others who are just like that. So as the technical director and the coach, you kind of have some ups and downs, especially with COVID. We have a question from Facebook. Kaiser asks, what are your players doing to stay in shape and play competitively during COVID? Obviously, some are in their college season, but what are some of the things that you're able to do on your end?
Yeah, so every region sort of has different restrictions and so forth. So those that are at US-based universities, they're getting going in sort of the season right now. Tanya is an example on the Memphis players, which we know some of them are playing. So they're training and playing full games and so forth. And then here locally, adults currently, based on our COVID restrictions, can't play. And any training at the local universities, if there's exemptions, depending on the region, would be small group training or one-on-one training. So, soccer specific, overall, there's not a lot of soccer training occurring. So what players have been doing is, working on strength and conditioning programs on their own. There's been countless Zoom sessions with respect to mental skills or technique training for the younger players. But, with this particular group that we've put together, they've been working on their own with respect to strength and conditioning, and soccer has not been permitted. So, if you talk to the sports scientists of the world and the strength and conditioning coaches, there is concern about, how quick can we get started and making sure that, injuries don't occur due to the lack of activity here. So we're working on those, and we're looking at protocols and all the latest research and trying to do things properly. But a great question, but it's different everywhere. Right here, we are doing very little because we're not permitted to do very much.
So along those lines, sports, life, organizations, everything's stopped or has been kind of in limbo because of COVID. What have you and the organization taken away from this experience, both positive and perhaps negative as it relates to it? Have you been able to kind of look at the way you're coaching, your techniques, what your expectations are?
Yeah, a fantastic question. I think, on a negative sense, and this is a bit disappointing, and maybe it's just me, but I think my frustration or my disappointment with respect to COVID and sport in general, not just soccer, is the lack of perceived value that others have with respect to the importance of sport or physical activity or teams to mental health and mental well-being and so forth. So, I know this is a very slippery slope, but, people are making decisions based on facts and science, you would hope, and so forth. But I think the whole mental health piece has been overlooked. And like I said already, the importance of physical activity and sport and friendships and teammates and so forth to that. That's my disappointment. I think that's been left behind or overlooked or not considered as much as it needs to be considered. On a positive sense, I think we found lots of creative ways to do different things via technology. And I know most of us are zoomed out, and maybe that's going to be in the dictionary here now, but, just delivering opportunities to have guest speakers and leadership training or mental skills training, mental health seminars, and then doing technique work. Because reality is I don't think you can do too much technique work, although everybody is probably a little bit bored of it right now, and you like to compete and play games and so forth. But the positives have been that, and I think in general how the community, sport community and soccer community have come together, sharing ideas and resources and trying to be legitimately in this together. So I think that would be the positive.
What should fans be excited about or look forward to this upcoming season?
Absolutely sublime standard. League's quality, conference is quality. When Carlos brings his team here, they're wow. Ridiculous team every year. So good. And I can't speak for the newcomers, but knowing a little bit about their organizations, they'll be I can just assume. I say fools assume all the time, so call me a fool later, but I'll assume they're putting something special together as well. And Foothills is quality. And I think what you get when you come to a game is you see some quality soccer from some absolutely, truly outstanding women that deserve the platform, deserve the opportunity, deserve the stage. And then if soccer's not your thing, come anyhow. There's beer gardens, there's live music. I think one thing that Foothills did exceptionally well is the game day experience with respect to the bands and, the things for children to do and the food trucks and so forth. And we're going to do that as well. And, I think if soccer's not your thing, come for the experience. It's affordable. And I think because we've all been under these restrictions and sort of trapped here and there for so long, I said to our supporters group, let's throw a party every fixture. And the party doesn't necessarily have to focus on soccer. And that's what we're trying to do. So party.
So I want to touch on that a little bit because I know after our production meeting last night, you were able to head over to talk to the supporters group. What should we expect from the Impact SG, as they're known on at Twitter?
So that's actually tonight after this.
Okay.
I'll connect with them. They have sort of a meeting there to plan, a meet and greet with some players and so forth. They're right now, I think where they're at is they're brainstorming some names and so forth. And we'll do a walkthrough and sort out where in our seating that they're going to be and so forth. But, it's two young women who have a podcast up here for Kicks that really do an admirable job of supporting the game here in Canada. Two absolute rock stars. And they jumped all over this right away and brought a gentleman that's involved in the FC Edmonton supporters group. And I met with them last week or the week before, and their energy and their passion for women's soccer is significant. It's real. And they're taking this and running with it. And I told them we'll do anything that we can do in our power to make it happen. But I think it's really, really cool that they're doing that. And more than cool, it's important. I think, you look on social media, we talked about that earlier, Jonathan, there's all these people that we got to do more, we got to do more, we got to do more. Women need this, women need that. And it's really refreshing when you have people that are actually doing more and wanting to do more and wanting to volunteer and give more of their time to it. I find that super inspiring. And that's what that supporters group is about. Top class.
Yeah, shout out to Four Kicks Podcast. It's at Four Kicks Podcast on Twitter. Check them out. They're doing awesome things up there for not just the Impact, but for soccer in St. Albert. So hopefully they can come up with some cool names and some awesome experiences for people while they're visiting matches for Impact FC. But talking on that social media aspect, how important has the presence been of the club on social media to growing kind of Impact? You guys there's coffee, there's Wednesday accolades. What would you say is why is it important?
First and foremost, the first Monday morning coffee with Erica Vecchio was amazing. I don't really know her, but after watching that, I feel as though I do. Alicia works here in the club. She's our grassroots head coach. Her office is next door. She'd be embarrassed if I'm talking about her because she's pretty humble, but it's her idea. Like, I knew we needed to be on social media. I knew that it's important for us to be on social media. Everybody knows that. I'm absolutely useless. And she would tell you that when she's being honest, like useless. I'm not even on Twitter anymore. I pop in and out of Facebook. I keep trying to delete my account and it keeps re-adding me. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but I know it's important. And, we're doing silly things. I've got JJ behind the scenes. He's adding every single person that he can add on Twitter. I think you're only allowed to add 400 people a day and you get shut down. Yep. So now we're following 2,500 people and only 600 are following us. And I'm all over them. You got to get that ratio down. Unfollow some of them if they're not interested. So we look cooler. That's all I think I know. And then Alicia walks into my office one day and, I'm usually doing something and focused. I'm not really giving her the time of day. I put my head down, shame on me. And she writes this plan on the board and I'm sort of listening. I'm doing that. And I hear that. I look and then I see the Monday morning coffee. I'm like, wow. And she's took it. She's run with it. We're getting lots of feedback, lots of traction. We've had potential players reach out due to it, potential sponsors and so forth. And, our whole UWS used to have a franchise of the year. I think Foothills is one of the franchise of the year a few years ago. So everything I tell our operations team is we want to be franchise of the year. We need to do this. We need to do this. So I'm just running around like a little busy guy telling people what to do. And she did that on her own with some support and some guidance. And she's done awesome. She's done absolutely awesome. And it's so important. And for this to work, you need people like Alicia. You need more Alicias for that matter.
Not gonna lie, I did the front squat with my bulldog. He did not like it, but there's a video circulating of me and Kong doing front squats.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I want to see that.
Speaking of JJ, he just sends us an emoji of a trophy. So we obviously know what's on JJ's mind here.
He's an Oilers fan. He's a hockey guy up here. He loves his Oilers. He's probably making fun of me. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, listen, hey, what does community mean to you? Obviously, we know community is huge in the aspect of soccer, but to you personally, what does community mean?
Oh, that was on the script, Jonathan. Community. I think it's just about being authentic with your relationships, whether it be, your friends, your family, everybody involved in your day-to-day. That's community for me. I could go really touchy-feely, but community to me is just everything and everyone that you find important and possesses like values and so forth is community. And, with respect to UWS and women's soccer, community for me is anyone, male or female, young or old, that's involved and putting their front foot forward to contribute to make this happen. That's community for me.
One of the things we talk about on the show is obviously beyond the pitch and things that we're doing off the field. There's a scope, right? This is a new team. That's kind of a year, 1.5 idea, but it sounds like as it relates to social media and everything else beyond the pitch is going to take a different form for Impact FC. What might be some of the ideas behind getting more involved with the community going forward, besides the supporters group helping out and so forth?
I just think being inclusive and providing, again, opportunity for others that may not normally get to do, to attend events and so forth. Off the top of my head, there's some groups. There's one down south, Kids Up Front, where you donate tickets to kids that may not normally get to attend sporting events and so forth, and doing things like that, and making sure that the parts of society that have less representation and less inclusion are included in these opportunities and so forth. That's part of the why. And as we get going here and we assemble a team and our operations team and the people around it, just giving back as much as we can to the Edmonton region and St. Albert region with respect to people that want to experience something like this. And as a university coach, one of my favorite moments happened recently. It's got nothing to do with soccer. I got a text message from my goalkeeper, who I think is going to play at Foothills down in Calgary this year. Maybe it's supposed to be a surprise. Sorry, I didn't name her. And text me. She goes, "Hey, is it okay if I email the team? I read online that the Calgary Food Bank is really short-staffed and needs helpers because of COVID and so forth." Busy student, midst of midterms, chasing grades, got her game took away. It's asking permission to email the team to volunteer at the food bank. So, I think for me, anything that I'm involved with, I want us to be considerate of things like that and find out what works for them, what works for us, and contribute in that regard. Not to get a high five or anything, but I just think it's important because we're super fortunate to have an opportunity in something that is a game. And this is a game. Okay, so can we take our privilege and game and provide something for others? That's what you'll see us do. Awesome.
Well, I look forward to it. Before I let you go this evening, I got some questions for you. I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Oh, this isn't the hot seat already? Are you serious?
That was the easy seat. Now I'm in the hot seat. So first question out the gate. What is your preferred length of grass or turf?
Oh, get out of here. Was that sent by LA Galaxy?
That was sent by me.
I'm so over that. They sent me photos of California grass after. Oh, my goodness. That's below the belt. That's not a hot seat. That's like a low blow. You just got kicked out of the game, red card.
Okay, we'll move on. I had to.
Real quick, they were complaining about the length of the grass at Mount Royal University for the national championships. Like I have any control over the I wish I had control over the length of the grass at Mount Royal University. Mount Royal University is the staunch rival of the University of Calgary, where I coach. We're red, they're blue. They're not doing anything for me. So I had no control over the grass. And then the stuff that we played on in California, I bought a new pair of Nike shoes at the outlet the day we played LA Galaxy, the one time 1-0 win. Pooh. And I couldn't wear them again because there was green stuff all over. They paint the field. Like the green stuff, the green paint all over it. Tuxie at Foothills knows that. So length of the grass, whatever length helps us win.
Well, I mean, I see coaches who overwater the field or the pitch. In areas down in San Jose, they used to water it, 5 minutes before the match, just to get that water, just get the ball to skid just a little bit more on that turf and create kind of a home field advantage. So turf does play a role in that.
I don't do that. However, because we're on the topic, and I know it's no longer hot seat now, but they were also quite upset that day that one of the ball girls didn't throw the ball back in right away. We were winning 1-0 at home. And I may or may not have been accused of telling the ball girls not to give them the ball in that situation. So truth be told, it was my daughter's team. I did meet with them briefly saying, hey, look, let's be smart. They're really good. If we're winning late, you don't need to give them the ball. I know that's so wrong, but it's been on my heart for years. So I'm sorry. And I do believe it was my daughter that didn't throw the ball back in right away, and their coaching staff went bonkers. I went bonkers because they were mad at my daughter. I'll own that. Next question.
Championship or Coach of the Year award?
Championship.
Favorite boots?
Umbro Speciale.
All right. Why the love for Boston sports? As I wear my Red Sox World Championship shirt from 2017.
With the exception of the Bruins, because it's an Irish town, and Tom Brady is the greatest thing to ever happen to sports. Fact.
All right. Favorite soccer specific test that you give to the girls?
Test?
Yeah, like is it a run test? Is it?
No, it's just one of my pulse raisers that some of the older girls on the Foothills team, they keep every time there's something on Instagram that pops up about a coach doing something and girls don't know what he's talking about. So it's a long story, but at Real Salt Lake a couple of years ago, I decided to run a warm up that evidently was over their heads. So I have all these little pulse raisers, and they're complicated where you have to think. And I think players like them, but they probably don't. It's a bit of a test.
They just smile at you and say, "Sure, coach."
Well, they don't smile, and nobody smiles at me, Jonathan.
Fair enough.
Look at me.
What one coach and style do you take after?
Nobody.
Keep it original, huh?
Have to.
Favorite soccer memory?
With Lee Tucker, we needed to beat LA Galaxy at LA to win the conference, to go to our first national championship. And I don't know how we did it. They were all over us, and we did it. And favorite memories walking off the field that day and giving Talia White, who plays for me, one of my captains at UFC, a big hug, and walking off arm in arm with Tuxie, pumping our fists. That's my favorite memory.
Awesome. Well, Troye, thank you so much for taking the time to join me this evening. I really appreciated the conversation. Hope you enjoyed it too, and I'll let you get off to meet up with the Impact Supporters Group.
Hey, Jonathan, thank you. And what you're doing here is outstanding. It's next level, and it helps promote the women's game. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good rest of the evening.
You too.
All right. A special thanks to Coach Troye Flannery from Impact FC for taking the time to join me this evening. And don't forget to join me next Thursday, as well as every Thursday, for UWS Weekly, where we talk all things UWS and UWS2. Until next week, cheers, everyone.